Hello everyone, welcome again to KuirthiyTV. My name is KuirthiyTV. So this video is about what is happening now in South Sudan, and I'm assuming all of us are familiar with what is happening. And this video is about the aftermath and what people are saying, especially political leaders, during the memorial of the late General Major. There are many Jieeng politicians and military leaders who have said things that are unfortunate. And at a time like this, words of public figures really count. So the video is about leadership and responsible public speaking. So what should people who are in position of authority or people who are known within the country, what they should and shouldn't say? So I'm going to go through a number of things that I think are fundamental to people understanding themselves as people belonging to the same country. So the first thing you must do if you are speaking in an environment that is emotionally charged is to validate the emotions of those who are offended, regardless of who they are. Let them know that the emotions are valid, because when people are offended, they don't really want to understand about facts or logic or truth. All they want to know or feel is that how they are feeling is not made fun of. So if you make fun of the emotions people are feeling, then they will not even understand what you're saying. To start speaking about truth and facts and logic, they will just tune out. So the first thing you must do is to validate the emotions of those who are offended. The second thing is to acknowledge mistakes in your position, if any. So look at what you've done, look at what you've said, and see if there are mistakes in it. So in the social justice or in social sciences generally, there's something called self-reflexivity, where you look at what you say and what you do and how you're raised, so that you can be critical of them, so that you don't take things at face value and assume what you are saying is the truth as it is. So always be self-reflexive, self-critical. So acknowledge mistakes if they are mistakes. So if your opponent says that this is the mistake in what you're saying, this is untrue, acknowledge if they are. And then now you've validated the emotions, you've already acknowledged mistakes in your own position. Now the next thing you can do is point out the mistakes in your opponent's position and action. So now you've validated the emotions, so they calm down, they know this person wants to listen to me. Now you look at your own position and point out the mistakes in your own position and acknowledge them. Then they will know, okay, this person is actually, I can trust them. Now you can go and point out mistakes in the position. They'll be able to listen because you've already validated how they feel. You've already shown them that I'm not saying I have all the facts in the world. I'm not saying I have all the truth in the world. I'm not saying I'm infallible. So this can actually make them listen when you start to point out the mistakes in whatever they have said and done. And then now, make the case for the truth and facts that characterize your position. You can now tell them, okay, this is the strength in my position. You can tell them this is the truth I'm trying to say. You can say these are the facts surrounding what I'm saying. They will be able to listen now because you've already calmed the waters. Now, after having identified the truth in what you're saying, that this is what I'm saying and this is why I think what I'm saying is valuable for our coexistence, then you can now identify areas of agreements and areas where differences are so fundamental that they cannot be reconciled. There's something, English people would say, let us agree to disagree. So there's some areas where you can say, okay, we had misunderstanding, but we agree on these facts. But there are things that are fundamental, and these are things for which you will never agree. So you can now say, okay, this is what you believe, this is what you believe, and I don't think we're going to agree on that. So there's no point trying to convince the other person to accept it. So the only thing you can accept are areas of agreements. But areas of disagreements that are fundamental, they can be about ideology, they can be about religion, they can be about, economic outlook, whatever that is. You agree that this is your position, I'm not going to waste time convincing you. And then now you can suggest a solution or a resolution that can create an understanding and a possible way forward. So if you suggest some things now, having gone through all this, then they'll be able to say, okay, now let's listen. You've validated them. You've said this is your truth, I accept it. You've said this is something I will not accept, and this is why. Now, the last thing I want to say is about public figures. So some of the things that were said by some Jieeng politicians, they're unfortunate because public figures are not free to speak anyhow. If you're a public figure, you are someone of national importance. You speak for everyone. Even if you are emotionally affected by what happened, like the killing of General Major, you still have that responsibility as a public figure to speak with a uniting voice. I know President Kiir is not someone who can. He's done a lot of bad things for South Sudan. He's failed the country. But what he said when he came out and said, okay, let us calm down as South Sudanese will look for a solution, that was responsible. That is what leaders do. I know it wasn't adequate. What they could have done is President Kiir and Riek Machar should have come together, sat side by side, and speak to the country together. That would have been adequate. So, but at least the president came out and say, okay, we're not going back to war. That was responsible. That's what leaders do. He was angry and he said some things that are unfortunate, but at least he said that. So public figures should remember that. You are not free to say anything. Do not speak like people in the US, Donald Trump, who say, oh, this is free speech. No, as a public figure, you have the responsibility because what you say can kill. It can break a country. So when you speak in public, you can say your truth. If you go through what I've just done, when you point out the mistakes of the people you oppose or someone you oppose, those who support that person or those who belong to the camp you're criticizing will listen to you. They will not just say you are just a tribalist, you're just, a wasteful ideologue, you're just someone who doesn't know what you're doing, or someone who has gone from being a national figure to being this parochial ethnic nationalist. They will say, okay, this person has actually acknowledged my truth, so let me listen to what they're saying. And there are many Jieeng politicians, sometimes they forget that they are national leaders. They are not tribal leaders. They speak as if they're speaking to their uncles in their villages. No. So, and this applies also to some Nuer people. They speak about Jang, but you have to know that what you do to make other people unsafe will not make you safe. And you also must remember that many Jieeng are suffering under Kir Mayadi. They're being killed, and you all know these things. Some of them are languishing in jail now, and these are Jieeng people. So I just wanted to remind you of this because these are volatile times, and we must be careful. What we say matters a lot because this is your country. You're not going anywhere. Jieeng is not going anywhere. Nuer is not going anywhere. Bar is not going anywhere. Zand is not going anywhere. So the best thing you can do is get along. The sooner you realize that, the better things will be for everyone. Thank you.